We,
You
we
know how we're
assume,
going to solve it?
hmm?
We're going to solve it with Soylent Green. That's how we're going to solve it.
Solve it with what?
Soylent Green. Did you see that
Oh,
movie?
yes. Oh, yes, I remember Soylent Green. That was a very interesting story. Yes. Sinister film, that one. Um, but no, I think eventually we will find solution. I have enormous faith in the species because of what we've done in the past. We're getting rid of so many unpleasant aspects of human society that were prevalent in the early days. One of the worst things that used to dominate society was superstition, because superstition was based on nonsense, but people believed in certain things, and superstitious beliefs and the belief in the evil eye, which was watching everybody, was so common that it disrupted life in many ways. And we've got rid of a lot of that now, and that's marvelous because life has lost a lot of the stupidities of early superstitions, and we are now becoming increasingly playful. And now, when I say playful, I don't mean in a childish way, because adult play is what we call art and science and ballet and opera. All these are all forms of play, but they're adult play. And our adult play is what keeps life interesting for us, and we're very good at it. When you think of literature and art and scientific research, technology, as I say, opera, ballet, music, concerts, all these things are forms of adult play. They don't, you see, if you're a simple human being, you have to find food. You have to spend most of your time finding enough food to eat, and that's what most animals do. But early human beings, because they went on the hunt and could bring back a large animal to have a feast, they could celebrate that feast. And the celebration of the feast required that they do something special. And that's where we started to dance and paint our faces and wear strange clothing. And that was the beginning of the arts, as a celebration of the moment when we had a big kill and brought that home. Because if you're a monkey, you just eat nuts all day, or fruit. And if you're an antelope, you just graze all day. And the cattle in the field do not have festivals, you see. And it was the festive moment, that special moment when our hunters brought home the kill in primeval times, but gave birth to the arts. And if you go and study tribal societies, you find that when there is a special event, huge amount of effort goes into decoration of the body and painting the body and wearing strange clothes and so on. I mean, look at the carnival in Rio. I mean, look at the trouble they go to. It's all over in a few days. It's a special event. And this is something that has made our lives much richer, because we're always looking for new ways to enjoy novel situations. And we call books novels because they have novel stories, new stories. And novelty, and neophilia is the technical term, and neophilia, love of the new. That's what makes humans great.
In listening to where you think we're going and where we've been, what's coming to mind is a friend of mine. His name's Mike Dorso. He's an author as well. I was having a conversation with him a while ago, and he was talking about the brain, and he said, forget underwater, forget exploring there. The brain is that's the final frontier. It's the uncharted territory. So I'm wondering if instead of evolving outward, if we start evolving inward, and our little worlds are just. I spend a lot of time thinking, a lot, and probably I wish I was spent more time doing than thinking. But I am curious about the brain and maybe what you've studied, where magic mushrooms, or when tribes eat the concoction, and and travel or astral projector or whatever they're doing. I'm not sure. Have you seen the movie Altered States or read the book?
No, no.
Well, it's the I haven't finished reading the book. It's from the 70s, I think, or 80s, and they did a movie. William Hurt was in it, and they were experimenting with the sensory deprivation chambers. I think they were real big in the 70s or 80s, and then he took the mushrooms and went in this, and he changed into a different creature. So basically, I want to know your thoughts on, instead of developing outward, what about the brain? What's happening with our brains, with all, like, back to gender neutrality? You know, is the structure of our brain changing because of all of this?
No, I don't think. I don't think our brain has changed very much. Evolution takes a long time. I mean, we've only been we were tribal hunters only 20, 30,000 years ago. You know, I mean, this is a drop in the ocean. No, evolution doesn't work that fast. It takes millions of years. I mean, we had to spend 1,000,000 years as tribal hunters to develop into the human character, and that has meant that today one of our problems is that we are still primitive inside and living in a very sophisticated external world. I summed this up, I think it was in The Naked Ape, when I said, even a space ape has to urinate. And we are, in other words, a victim to our antique bodies. Our bodies were designed for tribal life, and now we are living in this very sophisticated way. And because we have curiosity and imagination and the ability to think, as you use that word, it's a very interesting point. You see, it's basis of philosophy. What you're talking about is philosophy. Philosophers don't do anything. They simply develop complex thought processes. And for me, I'm more interested in doing things. I like writing and painting and observing and studying people. But as far as the brain is concerned, I certainly don't think we've made enough use of it yet. I think we can develop it more. And people like Freud showed us that there were new areas, because before Freud, nobody took dreams seriously. Nobody took irrational thought seriously. And the imagination was looked upon as something that kind of interfered with everyday life, you know, and a sort of Victorian approach to life was correct behavior, appropriate comportment, and so there are all these wonderful behavior patterns that were so restricted that if you put the milk in the tea before the tea in the milk, all these tiny little patterns of behavior which had to be exactly correct. So society was becoming more and more rigid. And then, thank goodness, we broke away from that rigidity, and life in my lifetime has become much more liberal, much freer, so that we can do so many more things, are allowed to do many more things, and to try and experiment in different ways. There was a time when you could only wear a particular kind of clothing, for example. And if you go back far enough, there were clothing laws. It wasn't just fashion, it was the law. And if you had a certain income, that determined the length of your shoe. And if you wore a shoe that was too long for your income, you'd be in trouble. And I met this in one country in the Far East, where even today you find that somebody can be, in this particular country in the Far East, you can be arrested if the windows of your car are darker than your social status. In other words, if you're low status, you can't have dark windows in your car. But if you're high status, you can.